Surprise albums. They are albums that artists release without any prior announcement or marketing. They literally just pop out on streaming platforms out of nowhere. In this video, we'll look at 8 albums that blindsided us when they were released as a surprise. Beyonce by Beyonce. It was released on the early hours of December 13, 2013 out of nowhere as a visual album. This is the album that popularized the surprise album release strategy. It was released on a Friday and was the catalyst for changing the global release date from Tuesday to Friday. The album consists of 14 tracks and 17 accompanying music videos. It is an ode to female empowerment, love, and sexuality. Beyonce debuted on number 1 on the Billboard 200, selling 617,000 copies in the US and 828,000 copies worldwide just in its first 3 days of sales. In the 19 days between the album's release and the end of 2013, the album sold 2.3 million copies worldwide. It was critically acclaimed with a score of 85 out of 100 on Metacritic. Folklore by Taylor Swift. It was a surprise album dropped by Taylor Swift in the summer of 2020 during the pandemic. It was a collection of songs and stories that flowed like a stream of consciousness, recorded in quarantine at her home in Los Angeles. When it was released, Folklore broke the record for the biggest opening day on Spotify for an album by a female act. It debuted on number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 846,000 units sold in its first week. It stayed at the top for 8 weeks and became the best-selling album of 2020. Folklore received critical acclaim for its emotional weight, poetic lyricism, and relaxed pace, and got a score of 88 out of 100 on Metacritic. It won Album of the Year at the 63rd Annual Grammy Awards, making Taylor the first woman in history to win the honor 3 times. Shortly after the release of Folklore, Taylor released another surprise album, Evermore, on December 11, 2020. It debuted on number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 329,000 units. Like Folklore, it earned widespread critical acclaim, scoring 85 out of 100 on Metacritic. Kamikaze by Eminem. When it was time to release his 10th studio album, Eminem was coming off his disappointing album Revival. He released Kamikaze on August 31, 2018. He released the album to digital music stores and streaming services without any promotion. The album is full of disses, targeted towards Machine Gun Kelly, 6ix9ine, Iggy Azalea, Joe Budden, Lupe Fiasco, Lord Jamar, Ja Rule, and even Tyler the Creator. It also sparked his beef with Machine Gun Kelly, when MGK dropped Rap Devil 4 days after the release of the album as a response. In the US, Kamikaze opened at number 1 with 434,000 album equivalent units. It received mixed reviews from critics, scoring a 62 out of 100 on Metacritic. Eminem also used the surprise album release strategy when he dropped Music to Be Murdered By on January 17, 2020. If You're Reading This, It's Too Late by Drake. In July 2014, Drake announced that his 4th studio album would be Views from the 6th. But when fans were waiting for views, Drake unexpectedly released his commercial mixtape, If You're Reading This, It's Too Late on February 13, 2015. It debuted on number 1 on the Billboard 200, moving 535,000 album equivalent units in its first week. At the time, it broke Spotify's first week streaming record with over 17.3 million streams in its first 3 days. It received generally positive reviews from critics with a score of 78 out of 100 on Metacritic. The mixtape has been certified triple platinum by the RIAA. Untitled Unmastered by Kendrick Lamar. One of the most significant surprise albums of the modern era is Kendrick Lamar's Untitled Unmastered, released on March 4, 2016. Before its release, Kendrick performed songs from the album on The Colbert Report, Jimmy Fallon, and at the 2016 Grammys. The album unexpectedly dropped and comprises of 8 untitled tracks created between 2013 and 2014, alongside tracks recorded during the production of the iconic September Butterfly. The album has no titles, and the songs are numbered based on the day they were recorded. Untitled Unmastered debuted on number 1 on the Billboard 200, earning 178,000 album equivalent units. It is a critically acclaimed album with a score of 86 out of 100 on Metacritic. Songs of Innocence by Youre. The album was announced at an Apple product launch event. and was released the same day to all iTunes Store customers at no cost, which was over 81 million people. It was criticized for automatically downloading it to Apple customers without consent. Apple CEO Tim Cook stated that it was the largest album release of all time. Many customers deleted the album, which made it one of U2's lowest charting albums, debuting on number 9, selling 28,000 copies in its first week. It also had mixed reviews from critics, getting a score of 64 out of 100 on Metacritic. It was a cool experiment for an album release, but it ended up as a massive failure. Blonde by Frank Ocean. Following his debut album Channel Orange, Frank Ocean would continue his streak of mysterious surprise albums, and the release of his second was highly anticipated. Apple Music featured a promo of Frank building a structure and playing instruments on a loop. On August 19, his musical film Endless was released on Apple Music. This fulfilled his contract with Def Jam, and the following day he dropped his actual sophomore LP Blonde on his new label Boys Don't Cry. Blonde debuted on number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 276,000 album equivalent units. It is regarded as one of the best albums of the 2010s, scoring 87 out of 100 on Metacritic. Lemonade by Beyonce. It was released as a surprise on April 23, 2016. It was her second visual album, as it was accompanied by a movie that aired on HBO. The album is a conceptual project based on every woman's journey of self-knowledge and healing. It shows Beyonce's emotional journey after her husband's infidelity in a generational and racial context. It was preceded by the lead single Formation, and the day after the songs and the video's release, she performed it at the Super Bowl halftime show. Lemonade was the best-selling album of 2016, with 2.5 million copies sold worldwide. It was also one of the most critically acclaimed albums of all time, with a score of 92 out of 100 on Metacritic. Do you like the surprise album strategy, or do you prefer the usual way of rolling out albums? Tell me in the comments below.